Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Lessons with Cheri. Hopefully, you had a chance to learn a little bit more about me in last week's episode as I talked about my journey to getting to this place right now, exactly where I'm at today, which is in a capacity where I want to help you build your leadership skills. I don't care what type of organization you work with, whether it be public education or any other type of organization. To be a leader, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of knowledge to realize it's not about you. It's about the people that you lead. Now, I'll talk at some point in the near future about the difference between a manager and a leader. And if you want to catch some of those thoughts, you can always go back to my podcast that I have, my other podcast on Apple and Spotify, Strong Inside and Out, because there's an episode there that I talk about the difference between a manager and a leader. Of course, I'll bring that to you here. But this week, I want to talk to you more about the whole premise of the title of leader. I have been through so many different employees in my 16 years as a principal. Think about it. For the first 3 years, I had 980 something students. So that was about 85 staff. Then we did some shifting of boundaries, and I went down to about 800 students, 750. So I went down to about 65 to 70 staff. And then I kept that amount, went to Iowa, had about 45 to 50 staff members at that school, and then came back to Houston and had about 60 to 70 staff members, just depending upon the year. It's a lot of people over 16 years to supervise. And one of the things that I always said I would do, I had a few goals going into the position, but I always said that one thing, because somebody did this for me, is that I would grow my people, that I would provide my people with as many leadership opportunities as I possibly could. Now, that could be formal or informal, but I wanted to give them the opportunity to start to experience what it felt like to be the leader, so that they could decide what their path was going to be in the future. Now, I didn't think I wanted to ever leave the classroom until somebody did that for me. And so I thought that that was something that would build my legacy. If I could build you and you could go on to do what you wanted, then that made me just that much more successful. And I will tell you, I recently was going over this in my head for an interview that I was getting ready to do. And it takes probably 10 hands to actually count how many people, after given that opportunity, to either work for me or be mentored by me and then move up into different leadership, more formal leadership positions. Actually, they were able to do it. So over the years, I would say at least 50 people have been able to do that and do that successfully. Now, I'm also going to tell you that I can count a number of people, not 50, but a number of people that moved up, that maybe they weren't 100% ready, or they weren't doing it for the right reason, and they hadn't been successful, that they moved up and then they had to move back. And that wasn't by their choice. So I think that there's a lot to be said about this title of leader and why you want to go after it. Now, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, leading people to do their very best job, to have an impact on the world, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing greater than that. But if you're doing it because you no longer want to do or take care of the responsibilities that you're currently assigned, that's not the reason. I will share with you my reason for moving up, even though I didn't think I was ever going to do it. What I realized is that I had impact on 22 kids in a classroom. And as I started to move up, my impact started to increase until I was now impacting. So think about my first year as a principal, 900 and something students, their parents, and my 85-ish staff members. And then to do that year after year after year, that really adds up. That's why I did it. I knew that I had some skills that I could share that could help everybody who was under my umbrella as a leader grow, learn, and be their very, very best. I wanted to leave that legacy. However, I've been in interviews before. And one of the biggest questions I always ask, and most people do, is why do you want to be blah, blah position? And I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard things like, because I don't want to grade papers anymore. I've heard things like, because I don't want to stand on my feet all day long in front of children. I've heard things like, because I don't get along with my team. And I feel if I'm in charge of them, I can get them to do what I want them to do. Now, I've heard some really great reasons, even better than my reason. But you see, those other reasons stay in my mind just a little bit more. Because here's what I want to say, and I'm just going to speak in the public education realm for a moment. You might not be grading papers, but I'm going to guarantee you, you're going to have a whole lot more paperwork, because the job you're going to be responsible for is going to require reports. It's going to require lists and managing the lists and organizing the lists. And I remember times where I was making tutorial lists until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, only breaking to eat a little something in the middle. If you're worried about being on your feet all day, I'm just going to tell you, as the principal, I averaged 20 to 25,000 steps per day just while I was at school. You can't just sit all day as the leader and do an effective job as the leader. You have to be visible. You have to be coaching. You have to be leading. You have to be serving to be an effective leader. And if you feel like just because you're the leader, everyone's just automatically going to respect your wishes and do what you say, well, that's not going to happen either. Because as the leader, you have to build your teams and get them to trust that your direction is the right direction in which to go, and empower them enough to want to get on board with your vision and mission and do the things that you think are the right things to do. So my message for you today in this episode, again, I'm not going to make it super long, but very to the point. If you're getting to a point in your career, or you are already in this place in your career to be a leader, to aspire to be a leader, I want you to remember the title has nothing to do with it. Because as I said earlier on, you can be a formal or informal leader and still have a huge impact. And just because you have the title doesn't mean you're going to get some perks or less work or just this expectation that everybody's going to do exactly what you say or follow exactly what you want them to do. It is about knowing your purpose and your passion and your why for why you want to be the leader. Knowing what your mission and vision is when you step into that role. and knowing how to build capacity in your people so that they can help you get to your goals and dreams, but also empower them to want to help you accomplish your mission and vision. All right, so that's leadership lesson for week number 2 with Cheri. And I hope that you learned just a little bit. Reach out if you'd like more support. And I'm getting ready to really start advertising my course, Leadership Lessons with Cheri. And so if that's something that you are really thinking you're ready to move up in your career in some kind of capacity to be a leader, the content is amazing. It's almost ready, and I really want to start getting that out so that you can start thinking about it now to start putting yourself in the right circles, in the right rooms, in the right positions. All right. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.